Good morning, class. Today we're going to be comparing and contrasting different versions of the story Cinderella. So let's look at some of our key terms. Our comparison words, compare words, are alike, same. These are when we take two things and compare them, and they have the same similar attributes. Contrast words, they are words like but and differ. They're the way you're going to tell and explain how things are different. The protagonist, it's our hero, the main character. It's the person that we root for, who the story is about. The antagonist is the villain, the foe. They're the ones that cause the problems for our main character. Summary, it's a quick version of the story. Setting, it's where it takes place. Problem, it's the uh-oh. Solution, it's how they make that uh-oh better. The plot, the main idea. So first we're going to discuss the movie Cinderella. Who's seen the movie Cinderella in here? Good, so I'm glad you are familiar with it. So what I want you to do is take out your Cinderella contrast and comparison chart and fill it out with me as we go. So the first one that we're going to look at is Disney Cinderella, the movie that we have all seen. Okay, so in this story, does somebody want to share and give us a quick summary of this story? Yes, thank you.
It is about a little girl that wants to go to this ball, but the stepmother doesn't let her.
Yes, that's good.
She is a musician.
Okay, so let's take it back. So at the beginning, who does she live with?
Her dad and her mother.
Okay, and what happens to the mother?
She dies.
She dies, and who moves in?
The stepmother.
The stepmother and anybody
The
else?
father leaves.
Were there anybody else that?
No.
No? Not so nice stepsisters?
Oh, and two not so nice stepsisters.
Okay, so who's this story about?
Cinderella.
Cinderella. Okay, so Cinderella lives at home with, that's not Cinderella. There's Cinderella. So Cinderella lives at home with her dad, and then something unfortunate happens to her dad, and so she's left with her stepmother and her two stepsisters. Do they treat Cinderella nice? The ball that all the women get invited to, thrown by the king and queen, so that they can find a suitable princess for their prince. Do they want or allow Cinderella to go?
No.
No, they do not. So what happens with that?
They don't let her go and they lock her in a room.
Okay. So does she have any friends that help her out?
Some mice.
Some mice. All right, yes. She has animal friends in this version. So she has Jacques and Gus. And then there's also the cat, Lucifer. That is the cat of the stepsisters and the stepmother. So that cat isn't very nice. So what happens? Do we remember?
She gets to go to the ball and the clock strikes midnight.
Oh wait, let's take it a step back, okay? So if I recall right, her friendly mice help her make a dress, correct? Yes. But do her stepsisters and stepmother like that she's planning to go to the ball? No. And then what do?
They don't. They lock her in a room.
They lock her in her room. But then something magical happens. So she's locked in her room. What happens then?
Her fairy godmother comes.
her fairy godmother. Okay, so what happens? Her dress is torn up by her stepmother and stepsisters, and she's locked in the room. So what happens?
A fairy godmother comes and
What
she
does
makes
do?
a beautiful dress and she lets her have a pumpkin carriage, but the pumpkin carriage turns back into a pumpkin by midnight.
Right, so she has a fairy godmother. Grant her a dress. A carriage. And helps her go to the ball. And what did you say about midnight?
At midnight, all that stuff goes away.
Okay. But at midnight, everything disappears. Oh yeah, and there was one special outfit, article of clothing that she had. What were they?
Glasses.
Glass slippers. Okay, so we're gonna say, move this over. A dress, carriage, glass slippers. Those are important to the story of Cinderella. Okay, so in the end, what happens?
She loses one of the glass slippers,
Mm-hmm.
and then Prince finds it,
Mm-hmm.
and then he has to go to all the doors in the town and see which one lost the glass slipper because he didn't see the face, and the stepsisters didn't fit in it. One was too big, one was too small, and Cinderella's foot fitted just nicely.
I'm just going to summarize what you wrote, or what you said. Cinderella. Okay. And at the end of a lot of movies, they live happily ever after, right? The title is Cinder Elephant. Okay, and so who is our hero in Cinderella Elephant?
Cinderella Lesson.
That's right. Okay, and who are the antagonists in this story?
The two warthogs.
The two warty sisters. Okay. Now, the whole book is about animal characters, so we're going to use this section a little bit more tomorrow when we read stories that have people in them but are from different countries. So we're going to look at that later. So we're going to just write that they are all animals. So the magical event that happened. Who was it that came and helped her?
The mouse.
The furry
Mouse.
god mouse, right?
God mouse.
The furry god mouse came, and what did he do for her?
He made her a dress.
Okay.
And his slippers. And gave her limousine.
Okay, for her to go where?
To the ball.
And what happened once she was at the ball?
The time went by so fast, and then all of a sudden it struck midnight, and then the all went away.
Okay, so she had a kind of like a curfew at midnight, right, where everything disappeared. Okay. Okay. So at the end, what happens?
They get married.
They get married. Okay, so taking a step back. Mentioned that she was locked in the kitchen. What did the prince do? What did he find?
He found the glass slipper and he tried it on every girl in the village, but none of them fitted in the shoe. And then he tried it on Cinderella's foot, and it fit perfectly.
Okay, and they live happily ever after. Okay. Here's a picture of our prince. Okay. So we both of the stories had our hero as someone that lived with two warty stepsisters. So in Cinderella, did she have a stepmother?
No.
No. Okay, so she didn't really have any animal friends in this story, but she did in Disney Cinderella. So is that the same?
Kind of. No.
No. So magical event. Fairy godmother, fairy godmouse helped her out. So is that similar?
Yes.
Yeah. Gave her a dress, some fancy shoes, and a way to get to the ball. Is that the same? That's pretty much the same. And everything disappeared at midnight, right? And she left her shoe behind. Okay, so is that all the same? Are they alike?
A little.
So they're pretty alike, right? Okay, and then in the end, the prince finds the slipper, looks for the girl that had the slipper. She was locked away by her stepsisters. The prince finds her, and they live happily ever after. So is that similar ending to both of the stories?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say so. Okay, so for our next story, we are going to read Cinderella. Okay, so this is the protagonist in this story.
And stepmother and a stepsisters.
Okay, so she's got a stepmother and two stepsisters. So stepmother, I don't think had a name. Okay, and stepsisters. Ovamelda and Cholestra. Okay, and again, they were all animals. I'm going to look at that again tomorrow. Okay, so the magical event. So pretty much she lived with her stepsisters and her stepmother. And they didn't treat her too nice, right? And there was a ball that was going to be thrown by the king and queen for their prince. So the magical event, who came to help her out?
The fairy goose mother.
The fairy goose mother, that's right. And what did the fairy goose mother do?
She gave her a gown and extravagant pair of shoes.
Okay, so in Cinderella, the fairy goose mother gave her a gown. She did not give her a way to get to the ball, and did she give her any glass slipper? Cinderella, the fairy goose mother gave her a gown. She did not give her any transportation to the ball, and Cinderella had already been producing glass eggs. So we're just going to say, gave her a gown, no transportation, no shoes. Okay. So at the very end of the story, what happened? So Cinderella gets to the ball. What happens at the ball?
She has an egg.
She lays an egg, correct?
Yeah.
So the prince and her dance. What happens the next day?
The prince goes and tries to find the girl who they did.
He goes and tries to find her. Does he find her?
Yes.
Okay, was she easy to find, or was she hidden away like our other characters?
She was hidden.
Okay, and then what happens once he finds her with the egg? Okay, so they start a fashion line. Okay, the prince finds Cinderella and along with the fairy goose mother, they start a fashion line. Key parts of the story and put them into what I call a Venn diagram. Okay, so this is going to be, and Cinderella is red and Cinderella is black, and they overlap. So this part, these two circles here where they overlap, would be that they have something in common. Over here, it would be that Cinderella and Cinderella have something in common. Right here, I'm just going to kind of make a little triangle, is where all three stories have something in common. And right here is where Cinderella and Cinderella have in common. So they may not all be filled in, okay, and they may not have anything in common. So we don't know. That's what we need to discuss. And when we answer our question by comparing and contrasting, we're going to use and are alike or different because, and we're going to give a reason. Okay? So I'll give you an example. Okay, so Cinderella and Cinderella are alike because they both wear slippers. Okay, so right in here, I'm going to say wears and loses slippers. Okay, I'm putting it here because Cinderella and Cinderella lose slippers, but Cinderella loses an egg. So we're going to write that over here. That didn't happen in either of the stories. Okay, so can you give me something else that they have in common? Maybe all three of them have something in common.
Okay, so they all have stepsisters.
Okay, so let's use our sentence frame. So Cinderella, Cinderelephant, and Cinderella are all like because, so.
They all have stepsisters.
Okay, so let's say it together. Cinderella, Cinderelephant, and Chickarella are
alike because they both have stepsisters.
They all have stepsisters. Okay. Talked about Cinderella, different versions. We compared them and looked at their similarities and differences. We charted it with different key things that we were looking for in each story, and then we put it into a Venn diagram. And we were able to look at we were able to better organize what similarities and differences they had, and we were able to use a sentence frame with good sentence structure. So the rest of the week, we're going to be talking about other Cinderella stories that come from different countries and how they compare and contrast to Disney's Cinderella. So that's all for now. Thank you.